Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Melanated Midlife podcast, where today we are going to be talking to my dear friend Bernadette Brown. Now, when I say that Bernadette is the ultimate corporate girly slash business owner slash self-care advocate slash, all the multi-hyphenates. And she's telling us how she is able to still center herself and really take care of her own well-being in this midlife phase. Now, you probably want to wish her a happy early birthday because as we were filming this, she was preparing for her 50th birthday. So join us for what I call a grown woman chat to really talk about what it's like to be able to handle all the things and still take care of yourself in midlife. Tune in and let us know what you think. All right, everybody, welcome to the podcast. Today, I have my friend Bernadette Brown here to talk pretty much having a grown woman's chat. And I'm just going to give her a moment to just talk about everything that is fabulous about her. But I do... I can already imagine, the hair flip and everything going on. But everybody, Bernadette Brown is the founder of Baubles and Beeswax, which is a luxury self-care line. And I want to take a pause to just tell you, girl, I appreciate that. Number one, that's badass all by itself. But being the owner of the business is not everything about you. You have a full career that you can share in just a moment. But welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so lovely to be here.
And you look fabulous. So I just want to say.
Blame Pat and Howard, my mom and dad.
Well, for anybody that has not heard of Baubles and Beeswax, has not heard about the Bernadette Brown, give everybody a little bit about your background. How'd you get here?
So how did I get here? Oh, wow. How much time do we really have? So I'm an Army brat. My dad was in the military. So I lived overseas growing up, which I think has a lot to do with like my personality and my experiences and just kind of how I think about things. We came back to the States and ended up landing in Houston. Houston was, my dad actually taught ROTC at Prairie View. And so when he got out, he wanted to come back to Houston. And so Houston is where I grew up, right? So I've lived overseas. I was born in North Carolina, but I grew up in Houston. And went to Sam Houston State originally. This might be a little weird, but originally my major in college was kinesiology because I really wanted to be a basketball coach. Yeah, I'm a huge sports fan, huge basketball fan, right?
Okay.
Like that's my jam. But the first semester, there was a lot of ology classes. It was a lot of like biology. I was like, I don't think this, I'm not for this. That was just never my strong suit. And so I made the change to radio, television, film, so then I could be a sideline reporter. So I was like, well, I still want to have my basketball fix. I still want to be in the arena. And from there, after, going through school and everything and getting internships and learning about the business, I realized I really didn't want to be on the road that much. And I really didn't want to travel and, have to be outside. And I'm like, no, it's hot outside. So I kind of fell into behind the scenes of TV and loved it. And so oddly, I started working in Houston. That was my first job out of college, which was weird for a top 10 market, to get your first job. Had a great time, loved it, was there a few years, and then went to another station in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was culture shock. It was culture shock. It was fine. It was great. The work was okay, but I was single and young and did not want to be there at all. I was like, I'm ready to come home. So I called my old boss and said, hey, I'm really interested in coming back home. Do you have any jobs? And he was like, no, but my wife is the station manager at a station across the street. Let me have her talk to you. And then I got a job at that station. And so from there, worked. I did PR for a little bit. Could not stand it. I'm a news junkie. And so I missed that world. And then I got into, and then I got an opportunity to do network news. And I was like, have no intention of being in a network. I love local news. I love the communities. Loved like meeting people. And then I got a network job and thought, oh, I'll be in Atlanta for about 2 years. Yeah, it'll be 17 years in December. So I've been uh, in the network, at the network for 17 years. And so that's my background. And then 2016, I decided, well, why not add creativity and do something totally different? And that's where Baubles and Beeswax was born, which was kind of a fluke. I deal in facts, right? And so for journalism, it's all about facts. And then I decided to do this real creative thing, which I was always very creative, but I didn't really want to be an entrepreneur, oddly. I was like, no, I want to work for a corporation. I like the stability. Then I started making candles, I just fell into it because I love candles, but they always made me sick. Every time I would burn a candle, I would get headache, like sick. But I would buy a candle everywhere I went. I loved candles.
Okay.
And a friend of mine was like, you probably just need to change. It's the wax or the fragrance that they're using. And so I bought a $40 kit off of Amazon to make candles, and then literally a business was born. And so that's how it kind of got started.
Okay, that number one, that's amazing. So I want to go back to the fact that you said your job that was supposed to only be a year,
Yeah.
a bridge job. Let me take this little thing until I can find something better, and that ended up being 17 years later that you're still doing it. But then the other piece about starting the business. There's so much there. And I really want to kind of get into that because you were able to pivot. I lost track of how many pivots you had in your career and business. But, that is my jam, is talking about the pivot. So, I mean, overall, looking back, any regrets in that journey?
Oh, not at all. No, I probably will pivot again. I mean, the truth is, I love the work that I do. I love the impact that I have. I'm a leader. I'm a manager, so I have a team of people under me. So I do love that work, but I'm good at a lot of things. So I can try other stuff. And it may not all be financially fruitful, but it fulfills me in different ways. And so with the business, I can parlay that into other things. And honestly, who knows what it'll end up being? We actually have kind of a relaunch in the works about what the next iteration of the business looks like. But I I think I think the idea of knowing exactly who you are and what you're going to do for the rest of your life at the age of 25 or 24 is asinine. I mean, I just think it is because there I, there was no Facebook when I was in college.
Yeah.
We just had the internet, So just I guess the idea of not pivoting kind of scares me. Like the idea, I am a lifelong learner. I want to learn, learn, learn. So if I learn something else that I'm interested in, then heck yeah, I'm gonna go for it.
And you're saying that now. I mean, because, let me also say, happy birthday, happy early birthday, because
Thank
I
you.
know you were waltzing into
I
this new
am.
season with what, in a month? When is your
Yeah,
50th? Okay.
about less than a month, I'll be 5-0, and I'm so happy about it.
You should be. I mean, I'm just saying, I like being able to tell people that I'm in my 50s. This is
I
fun.
do too.
Because
I don't have any issues at all with it. People are like,
it's
"Oh,
not what
how do
I
you tell
thought
people?" I'm like,
originally.
I have 50 years of fabulousness. I mean, there's some grief along the way and there's some heartache, but I'm here and I could celebrate that. Like 50 freaking years.
And
That,
look at where you are now, business wise, career wise. And I want to go back to what you said about at 25 years old, to be able to say, I want to be X or I want to do Y for the rest of my life, for the rest of my career. Is that where you were at 25? Or did you already have that mindset of, I'm going to bounce and do what I need to do when I feel like?
yeah, I think I was tied to more about not the role, but the impact. So I found things within my jobs that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed connecting with people. I enjoyed mentoring like interns that would come in and learning about what made them tick. So yeah, I didn't expect to, um, kind of like grow the way I did. I just didn't have a plan. And I think that, honestly, I think that's what's worked for me because I didn't have this, okay, in 2 years I'm going to do this. And if I haven't done that, then I'm a failure. And then like, for me, I have freedom because I'm like, well, we'll see what this thing does. We'll see where it takes me. I did corporate PR during 9/11, and I was like, I gotta get in the newsroom. I gotta get in the newsroom because I felt like I wasn't able to really give all I needed to do, give all I needed to give. And it was soon after that I went back into TV news. And so, I mean, yeah, I don't have a plan. I don't know what the future holds. I'm just ready to like roll. I literally am like riding the wave. And as long as I am impacting people in the right way, I feel like it's more about how people feel around me than it is the role that I did, right? Like if I am in a room or in a space and somebody is feeling bad about how I contributed, I feel like that's failure. But it's not going to be because I didn't get that job or I didn't get that opportunity. I've had opportunities before, passed over, didn't get them. I woke up the next day still fabulous. I've had opportunities that people really, really wanted me to come, and I decided not to. It just wasn't the best thing for me. Still woke up the next day awesome. Those things didn't deter at all. So I feel like, yeah, let me just keep having great experiences with great people and see where this life goes.
Yeah, okay, so like right there in that example that you just gave, some things that you step up for and they didn't happen. That is the fear of so many of us is failure. We're looking at whatever that next thing is, and we're standing on this side of the bridge, and whatever that goal, whatever that prize is, this invisible bridge to get to whatever that is, it is paved with every fear, all the negative self-talk. And I mean, how do you deal with that? I mean, or do you deal with it?
So for me, it's simple. I expect to fail. Simple. So I expect that I am not going to get everything correct. So there's freedom in that I've literally lowered the expectations of myself. I just want to go and learn something new, meet new people, have a new experience and say I did that. Versus if I gotta go in, I gotta be the best at no. I don't know. I might not really like that thing and I don't want to do it. The idea of not having fear is crazy to me. You're going to be scared of things, right? It's going to happen. The judgment that we place on ourselves is where the change comes, right? There's no judgment of me if I don't get that job, if I don't get that opportunity, if they don't see me in that way. My value is still the same. Still the same. So when we remove that, I think when we take that away, that's when you like really are like, oh, who knows what's going to happen? I'm just going to have a good time doing it. And I'm going to look cute. Like I'm just going to have a good time doing it. And if I expect to fail, I've told my daughter this, like, really the recovery is what you're trying to learn. You're just trying to learn. She's going to be 21 in a couple months. You're just trying to learn the recovery.
That's a trip, by the way.
Yeah, 21, I know.
21.
Crazy.
You
I
got a
know.
grown ass woman that you're dealing with.
Seriously, grown. Grown, but still sends text messages of like, hey, parents, I need money. I'm like, unsubscribe.
Right, right. But that's a lesson all in itself, because when you say that, okay, I'm going to show up, I'm going to go after this thing, but whatever the result is, you don't attach yourself to that result. I love the way you say, if I don't get it, I wake up the next morning and I'm still fabulous. If I get it, I wake up the next morning and I'm still fabulous. Me and who I am is not attached to the outcome of this particular
100%.
endeavor. You still get to move on.
Yeah, and I teach that to people that, a lot of people come to me and ask for advice about career advice, especially in TV news. And I, I just don't want us, especially as Black women, to do this. The world is already doing it to us. I certainly don't want to do it to myself and to my sister. You can do it, try it, and see what happens. Versus, you're not gonna be able to do this, girl. What happens if they think this? Who is they, and what does it matter what they think? People are already writing a story about you, so they have an idea based on whatever about who you are. There's only one person that really, really knows the truth. That's you. And so the idea that my value or worth is attached to an outcome, wild to me. No. The journey is the best part. So, hey, I had a good time doing it. Didn't get the job, met some great people. Uh, I, I think when we boil it down, we're looking for outside acknowledgement of our worth. And I feel like you probably don't see it the way I do because you haven't gone through the stuff that I've gone through. I know exactly how valuable I am. I know my worth. And if you don't see it, you're missing out. But I certainly am not tying myself to your opinion or your value proposition of me. No, not at all.
Where does that come from? I mean, did you just wake up at 17 years old and you all of a sudden had this mindset, or were there lessons along your journey that got you to this point to feel okay with yourself regardless of, the failures or the outcomes of certain endeavors?
I think it was probably my mom, Pat Brown. My mom was very, very clear about, she was an executive. She did, she was in corporate banking, and she was very good at what she did, but that was not it. She's like, I'm good at this, but I keep moving this camera, and I apologize. I'm sorry. I so am sorry. You think I would know this from like being in
We are
television
not a
news, but
professional
your girl
operation.
is still messing up the camera. Um, but so she taught me a lot of things, and also um, this might sound weird, but there wasn't a lot of celebrations for successes, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I think there was more conversations about the misses. There were more conversations around, okay, like what did you learn from that, versus celebrating the win. And so there, I had a healthy balance of, okay, now what did you take away from that, versus just, that was awesome, you did wonderful, and that's great, and let's build on that.
Yeah.
There's no learning in that. I think also too, she just taught me, and I've just taken it. I am not perfect. So when I take away and remove that, the sky's the limit. I don't have to try to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to know it all. I'm not going to have all the answers. And so, I mean, like, the freedom that comes from that. I don't have all the answers, so then I can surround myself with people like you, like your husband. I can be around people that know different things and learn from them. That is like, I mean, like, you just open yourself up to who knows what.
Exactly. But I want to go back to the lesson from your mom, which, yeah, your mom is dope, period. We've hung out with her, and
She's awesome.
I'm trying to place like the mature version of herself that I know right now and back that up 30 years, where she was probably even more raw and really fiery with some of that,
Yeah.
woman to woman or mom to child talk. But I can say I had probably the opposite experience, and with my journey, opposite of yours is that I was the rule follower, and the
I get that.
successes when they happened, yeah, there was a celebration. Yay, you got A's, you got the scholarship, or yes, you got the promotion or whatever. And I want to, kind of plus one what you said is that with all of those successes, though I'm proud of them, I don't have regrets, I learned nothing from my successes because I followed a certain path. I went through the
You knew the
steps.
outcome.
Yeah, I knew the outcome. It's like, okay, if I have to have this recipe and I put all the ingredients in this recipe, then boom, we know what the outcome is going to
It's
be.
going to be delicious.
It's going to be delicious, but if I want to add some extra buttermilk or if I want to add more cinnamon, what is the alternate possibility? I never did that. And so your shaping at this point at 50 came from a lot of trials, a lot of, risk taking. And so you've gotten to this beautiful space where you're able to say, hey, I'm good. I love me. I'm still going to be the great person no matter what happens. But I'll say I went all around the neighborhood with a different route, doing all the expected things, dealing with the perfectionism, because girl, that's a whole nother story. And
Sure
then
is.
finally getting to this age, and my realization was not from failure, but it was when I realized that nobody's paying attention to your life.
Don't nobody care.
Don't nobody care about you. And that's not a bad thing. They have their own stuff. They have their own worries and frustrations. So all the things that you think people are watching, all the things you think they're judging, they've
They
gone
don't.
on.
No, they struggle. If you walk into rooms and you recognize everyone here is struggling with something, you can have it can change the outcome for you. Everybody here is struggling with something. And I think I was definitely the good girl, right? In high school, and even in college, it was just like, I was a safe bet, right? I did what I was supposed to do, but I also took risks and, just and challenged the norms and kind of bucked the system a little bit. It's the journalism in me because I'm extremely curious. Well, why? But why? But so, okay, but why? Do we have to though? But who said it? Are you sure? And so I realized that a lot of people feel like that is a challenge, like you are, it's an inquisition. And I'm like, no, I'm just asking questions because I like to learn. And so I was very much a rule follower, but I broke the rules in that, like, if it didn't make sense, I wasn't going, I'm not here for that. Like, why? And so I think that's also how my career has kind of, I rose quickly, is because I did a lot of challenging of the norms. Um, you know, there are times when I'm gonna follow the rules,
Yeah.
but I don't know. There might not be any fun in that. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather just see what the recipe is gonna turn out like, and I added a little extra cinnamon, and like, I, I have one of my best friends, um, Brandy. She's a great host, wonderful. She has a recipe book. She's like, I'm gonna make this thing, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, like, what ingredients did we need? She's like, let me pull out the book, and I'm like, a recipe book, like, uh, I, I, it is foreign to me. I'm like, well, you just put the stuff, and you do a little this, and then you taste it, and you see.
Taste and
But
see.
she's like, no, it calls for this, and wonderful. It's always wonderful, but it's just not the way I operate.
Okay, so that I can see, like you said, with your journalism background, the constant curiosity. Why? Why is this? Why is that? That makes total sense. But when you bring that into your personal life, do that same perspective carry over? Did you have some growth along that journey that opened your eyes a different way, or were there some painful failures
Yeah.
that got you to this point?
So friendships are huge for me. I consider friends family. And so I think it was losing certain friends, losing friendships that made me really dig into I am whole without them. Because so much was tied to, right? Like as you know, like if you're married, it's me and my husband, me and this, or me and my best friend, or and there was so much that was not just me. And losing out on some of those friendships that I thought were going to be forever. I mean, there was no question in my mind that it would be forever. Every milestone, we would be together. There was no question. And losing those friendships, I think it just opened me up to the possibility of like, I can, I can have 100 best friends. I can have 100 opportunities. I realized losing, and I had a couple friendships that were really, it was a tough loss, like heartbreak. Um, it also helped me understand what was important. Community is huge for me. I want my people around me. I want the best people around me. So I've learned a lot about who I let into my space, who I'm, opening myself to. And everybody doesn't have access.
Yeah.
Just everybody doesn't. And because of the how real I am, right? I'm extremely honest. um, and I've had love and lost and loss and grief. I share those things with people. And you have to really be part of the circle for me to be able to share those things freely. And so I recognize who my close friends are because I can tell them the hard stuff.
Yeah.
And there's zero expectations and the relationship doesn't change. And I guess that's, you, like I said, you fail and I'm failing forward. I'm failing and I'm learning, and you have loss. You're like, man, that relationship didn't go the way I wanted it to. And I'm okay.
With that relationships and relationships ending specifically, I have noticed at this stage of life that I'm keeping my circle a lot smaller.
Yep.
And it's by choice. And let me also be very transparent. My girl group, my girl gang has kind of been the same for
Yeah.
all of my years on this earth. I've had one or two that have added to that circle, but I probably just have trust issues more than anything. But
That's next episode.
but it's like I get to this age, middle age, and there's a lot less that I'm willing to put up with. So you get that sense of people right away that, okay, we're cool, but this is this circle and I'll keep you out here. Or,
100%.
and the grieving of some relationships ending is a real thing. And
It's real.
when you said that a second ago, I got you, because I don't think we really put into words how that changes us when we have to close a certain relationship, a certain phase of life. A little piece of you grieve what that was. And I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
Yeah, no, it's so true, and I see it with my daughter because friendships are important for her as well. And this is now her last year of college, and the friend group that she had in the beginning, and the questions that I would ask about, like, well, how do you feel when you're around them? What type of ways do they support you, or how do you all support each other? And she is, those things have changed as well. And I'm a bonus mom, so she gets advice from me and her mom and her dad and her stepdad. There's a lot of people, but I make sure that it's about what she's feeling and how she's, like, is she supported in these relationships, because they're important for her. And if friendships weren't important for her, I'd be like, you know what, do you, whatever. It's important for her though, so really, really dig into, like, and I don't come up with the answer for her. I just ask the probing questions. And then, a couple months later, she's like, yeah, Miss Bernadette, I don't think I'm going to be friends with her or him anymore. I was given a lot, but they weren't giving anything back. And I really wanted that.
That's very healthy. Wow. I give her props on that. But tell me about that just in general. Being a bonus mom in this day and age, and I'm at the time of us recording this, of course, that whole concept of being a bonus mom has become just a conversation starter with, Vice President Harris and some of the other commentary out there, which, number one, is shocking. I don't know how we allowed such things to be said, but it is happening. So, but from your experience as a bonus mom, That's a lot because you guys, your family unit, but on the outside, it seems like y'all have it all figured out. You know, the co-parenting, the blending of all of the groups, and y'all seem to have a good time. I mean, is that all the story, or is there more to it?
No, 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 no. Oh no. Look, I my husband and I have been together about as long as I've been in Atlanta, 17 years. And so I met my daughter when she was 3, 4 years old. So she's been a part of my life a long time. It was not always this easy. It took work. It took a lot. There was tears. There were struggles. There was court. There was a lot. Um, but there was always a constant. We want the best for that child. We love that child. And when we really got down to it, I'm like, I just I'm just loving her. There was never ever a question of how we loved. It was how we did the other stuff. And I'm like, we need to remove the focus, right? The focus is not about us or the couple. It's about us as parents. And I mean, I have to remind myself sometimes that she's my stepdaughter because I'm like, well, she's my daughter. I don't see it any other way. My family doesn't see it any other way. They're like, oh, that's Bernie's daughter. Um, and so I don't I every path to parent is unique. And I was not blessed to have children of my own. But I mean, gosh, I was super blessed to have this wonderful child that, has been a part of my life for as long as she has, that is just the absolute love of my entire life. I love it. I mean, and I like her. Like, I actually like her. You know what I mean? She's a good person. But it was not always easy. And it's tough because, we have ties to Houston. For a while, she lived in Los Angeles. When you're bi-coastal parenting and you're only really physically with them in the summertime,
Yeah.
the heartache of, this is our Thanksgiving and then next year is our Christmas. I mean, the heartache of not being able to physically be with your child, the struggle. But we're better, and it's ongoing. It's not going to stop. We're going to be parents, co-parents for the rest of her life. But it's always about what is good for her.
And with you guys, it ties into, talking about just everything, all the lessons of marriage that go along with it. So I know that for me, I've grown a little, and it's probably not the same for everybody. I've grown to realize that my marriage is one relationship. Parenthood is another set of relationships.
Yeah.
But the two aren't necessarily the same. And I had a lot of hard lessons, a lot of ugly lessons that I've had to learn, that all of these other humans that are connected to me, those relationships have to be nurtured individually. And I mean, I'm still learning that. I mean, after 25 years together, I'm still learning that. And I don't know if with the lessons that you've learned, with your daughter and with your marriage, I mean, if there were any painful lessons, I mean, how have you grown from the whole, lessons of marriage and relationship? Okay, y'all know that I'm all about being a champion for you when you're making those big midlife pivots. And if your career is one of those areas where you want to make a change, but you're trying to figure out how do you get started? What are you qualified for? Am I too old to compete in this space anymore? I want to invite you to join my coaching program. It is called the Job Search Blueprint, and all I do is specialize with working with midlife baddies like yourself who are ready to make that step. Go to upskillservices.site to learn more about how you and I can work together to get you ready for your next career.
It is the most difficult thing I've done in my entire life, being a wife, because yeah, no, 100%. Because I really want the best for my husband. I want to do well for him. I want to be a help for him. And it's not always just that simple. And especially when you're talking about lives coming together, his life, his family, our families coming together. They're hard things to do. I got married at 38. So the idea of like, I was already who I was. Like, it wasn't going to be a whole lot of changing. I didn't even change my last name. But like, I, we've grown together by having real honest conversations with each other. And that means me sharing. I talk all day at work, so when I come home, I can't talk. I need a moment of not talking.
Gotcha.
I answer questions all day long. When I come home, I need 30 minutes to not answer a question. Even something as simple as, what do you want to eat? It would send me in a tailspin. I'm like, I don't want to eat. I don't want to eat. And it's different. Our dynamics are totally different. Me and this camera, we gonna fight. Uh, our dynamics are totally different. My husband is an only child. I have two brothers. I have a huge family. My dad is one of 11 children. My mom is one of 5. And it's just very different. He had only lived in Houston. I've literally lived overseas. We're very different. And this idea of like, it's just going to be roses and sunshine every day. People that go into marriage thinking that, I'm like, y'all crazy. Because it's not. I like him a lot though. I like that dude. I really like him. And that has been a constant. There are days when I'm like, bruh, if young, it's about to be some smoke. I promise it's better for you if we're in separate rooms. But we always come back to, we love each other. We love our child. Like, I mean, it ebbs and flows and there are great times. It's like a roller coaster. Sometimes you want to throw up. Sometimes you're like, what the heck is about to happen? And sometimes it's like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. But it's a roller coaster. I don't have marriage advice other than the reality is you live in the same house with this person. Y'all are connected forever. Your families are connected. It's just, it's hard. I tell my single friends now, I'm like, are you sure you want to be married? Are you sure? Not that I love my husband. It's just that I, maybe you want to he could stay over a couple nights. you know? It's also, too, it's just the challenging of what we've decided is the norm. Women at the age of 25, after college, blah, 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 they get married, they have kids. Says who? And so I think it's just a challenging, too, for us, is like, well, marriage is supposed to look like this. I'm like, no, it's not. What it looked like for your parents, what it looked like for my parents. My parents have been married 55, a long time. My mom has been Pat Brown longer than she was Pat Williams. Like,
Yeah.
just like my mama got married at 16. And they have, they have ups and downs, and we've seen all versions of their marriage. I don't try to emulate anyone. I just try to do what's best for him and us as a couple. And it is hard every single day. We struggle. We struggle because we live in America and it's tough. And so we just have honest conversations. And we do it with our daughter too. Very early on, we used real words. We didn't do the whole like, well, we can't say that around her. No, we talked about it. Like we said the words, and we still do that to this day. All right, you want this? This is what happens when this happens. This money, like we have real conversations about it, about everything, and I think that's what really helps us kind of stay together. And our friend group, our friends, they're honest with us too about their struggles.
Yeah.
So it helps.
I get that because I know that, and maybe it's just because at this age and social media and the way things are so glossy with the way that they're portrayed, which I get it, I have fun on social media looking at people's stuff and whatever, but I look at the wedding pictures, I look at the beautiful show, the party and everything that goes along with planning a ceremony. And we kind of have fallen into that old cranky couple role where we're just like,
Yeah.
hey, this is beautiful, happy to go party with you at your wedding. But when you really need to talk about the marriage, when you really need to sit down and counsel with folks about the struggles, the things to look out for, we'll be there to pick up the phone because it's different. And I love the quote that you gave me actually was that falling in love is easy, but marriage is hard. And
Yeah.
that hit me. That hit
Yeah.
me because it's true.
It's hard. I guess too, like the wedding lasts for like a day.
A day.
The marriage lasts forever.
Yeah.
And it is not perfect. I never claim to be perfect because I'm like, well, how? But if something is, if there's something is bothering us or we're going through something, we just try to have conversations. And we've gone through a lot. We lost both of his parents over the last 5, 6 years, 7 years. So we've had a lot of trauma. And it wasn't until like we went to counseling and it was like, what's going on? Like, and just recalling the things that we had gone through, I was like, well, we're grieving, we're hurt, we're angry, we're like, we've gone through trauma. And then not to mention, the country and the things that we hear and that we see, and it's tough to be a black man in America, and it's tough to be a black woman in America.
Ain't that the
Like
truth?
so we had real conversations about I'm struggling because of all the outside stuff, and I need this to be a safe space. And it changes because there are times when it's not that way. There are times when things are okay outside, and it's okay and it's good. We have honest conversations, and I think it's beautiful. I think marriage is great, but it's just not for everybody.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's the truth right there. Is that I mean, you to know that there's work that's involved. There's not always a happy end. Well, I won't say the happy ending. There's not the happily ever after fairy tale
Right.
that we're taught. But I want to push you on that piece because you're talking about the going to counseling and being able to understand trauma and grief and things. Is some of that what motivated you to go into developing a self-care, a luxury? I got to keep saying that. I love saying luxury self-care line, but I mean, there's a lot that you're juggling, and I think about your full career in journalism. I think about the marriage, the family, but you still got a whole business that
Yeah.
you are working on, and I mean. That's a lot, girl. I mean,
It's
teach us how you balance and all of that.
I don't. There's no balance. I mean, the idea of balance. I'm like, there's no balance. Um, I am my target audience. I'm literally my target audience. Um, I realized this was a couple years ago. One of my best friends, we were actually staying in a house together at Airbnb, and just having a good time, chilling on vacation. And she said, "All right, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna take a shower. I'll be back in about an hour." And I was like, "What type of shower
An
is
hour.
like an hour?" I mean, I was like, "Sis, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Like, it's something. Tell me where the bad man touched you.
Right,
Like, what's
right,
going on,
right.
right?" And she was like, "No, no, that's my time." And I just, I go and I'm like, and I realized I don't take care of myself.
Yeah.
I literally have created things to do that are tasks around getting clean, right? Like, yeah, I got to do my nails because I got an event to go to and I got to make sure that I'm presentable on stage and I got to meet this person. Not because I like to look at the colors and see what's best for my skin and have that 2 hours of me time. Everything was a task for me.
Yeah.
Everything. And when you realize that, like, it's real tough for you to say to somebody else, I want you to care about me and care for me when you're just not doing it yourself. And black women are terrible at it.
Oh,
We're
whoa.
terrible.
Rewind. Say that again. You just dropped a gem them. I want to make sure everybody hears that. Go ahead, say it again. Taking care. I'm about to
Yeah,
jack. Let me jack it
it's
up real bad, but you go ahead.
it's gonna be a hard conversation, and confusion will be there if you expect the person that you love to care for you better than you're caring for yourself. I can't expect my husband, like, I want you to care for me and care about me, and I'm not doing it myself. Like, and it's not about the bubble bath. It's not about, oh, just, go get your nails done and have the spa. Those are very important. But there were times when I don't answer the phone when my mom calls. And I know, like, at first I was so guilty. Like, I just can't talk to her right now. I got a lot on my mind, and I want to give her all of me, and I want to give her the best of me. And right now I'm not the best. So I'm just not. And I had so much guilt. And it was like, no, 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 that's me taking care of myself. And if I'm good, everyone around me is better. I don't want anyone to have a bad experience with me. So I've learned to say no. I've learned what I really do enjoy and love. And that comes from self discovery. And that discovery comes from you taking the time to actually nourish and care for yourself. I was bad at it. I'm still struggling with it. But it's a journey. Like I said, I'm my target audience. And I think we can all relate to it because we get wrapped up in roles. I'm a mom, I'm a manager, I'm a leader, I'm a this. And all of those things, none of them would be there if you were not good with yourself. Like
Absolutely.
I am the root of this tree. So there's nothing going to bloom if I am literally not like watering myself or like giving myself rich soil. And that comes from solo trip. I go to dinner or lunch by myself often. I love a solo, like, I'll go and eat and just read a book or watch something show. I love that time.
Yes.
And so when you give yourself permission to actually find out what it is you love and like, I think it changes things. And so that's the business is a reminder of that. It's not just about, you know, like I said, bubble baths and, putting on great lotion. It's about literally like when you are nourishing your skin, what are you saying? You are, like, what are you doing for yourself? And also, when I started the business, it was wild because I didn't know how to make soap or can't, like, none of that, right? And I told my mom and grandmother, I was like, I'm learning so much about soap making and, candles. And my grandmother said, yeah, I used to make soap with your great grandmother, Mama Elsie. And I was like, really? And she said, yeah, well, it was out of necessity. She's like, yeah,
Oh,
we used to have to.
gotcha.
And so knowing that I'm contributing to a legacy, right? Like I've turned this necessity into, a necessary luxury. It's a practical luxury. And I'm so connected to my roots in that way. It's a skill that I would have never thought about learning or doing. So I feel connected to the business in that way of that, for so long, we didn't have those luxuries. Soap, like it was just, you just didn't. And now I can create things that are good for people, that helps you understand and recognize you are valued, like you're deserving and you're worthy of the long shower. Take it. And like I said, I'm learning myself every single day.
Every day. Oh, that is beautiful. Gosh, I got chills while you were talking about the legacy that you didn't even realize you were connecting with building this business. That is incredible.
Yeah.
But let me also ask you. I mean, so I'm putting a lot into this, and I realize that maybe I'm just connecting too damn much to this story. But I see what you're saying about taking care of yourself, honoring your boundaries, and to once you emerge from those things, you are better for the people that are around you. You are able to be there when your mom calls. If it's a common time when you're both able to connect. Like you said, not answering the phone was just a moment where you're able to say, you know what, I can't do that right now. And I'll go do this, I'll take care of myself here, and when I do call mom back, I'm in a better space. And
Yeah.
those boundary setting moments are so significant.
Oh yeah.
And as Black women, I think even in a corporate environment, there is a tendency to want to continue to give, to want to continue to just go overboard with doing all the things. And I don't know if it's a way that we're looking for acceptance, maybe we assume that that's how we're going to measure up next to folks. I don't know.
I There's a legacy of us watching our moms and our aunties and our grandmothers do everything. And it's a generational curse. It is a curse. Can I can have somebody clean my house and be a good person. Yep. I can have a yard guy come and be still like we're still contributing members of society. I don't like I still watch my mom give and give and give so much, and so now I'm trying to teach her or reteach her like, mom, you don't have to do that. You can say no. She like it's okay if that person doesn't have access to you at this moment because you need to take care of you. And so I'm teaching that now to her and to my dad of like, yo, you got to take care of yourselves. Like go for a walk today. Like, can you get outside? And because everything was always about the kids, my brother, my sister, their families and their, foundational in their families. And we can, we never let people really, we never see how great people can be around us if we continue to do stuff. So we gotta just like let them learn. Maybe they don't have access for that moment. And it's not easy, but I think the benefits far outweigh the pain of going through, it is traumatic. I got to do it all. I got to do it all. And you mentioned about doing it at work. I found myself being the one that everybody goes to for everything. Oh, she's got the notes, and oh yeah, she's the one that knows this program, and she's the one that does, and that's fine. But then no one else around me has the responsibility or the expectation. So then if I'm frustrated that I'm doing it all, that's on you, sis, because you
Yes.
the one that who you mad at. So it, it and the thing is because the people say black girl magic. It's not magical because I mean it's work. But the fact is we're pretty effing exceptional. At my worst day, I feel like I'm better than others, right? So even when I'm at giving C work or 50%, I'm still better
Yes.
than others, right? And so
Yep.
me and this camera, see, she don't make me. Well, Anna, she is really out to destroy me today. Um, but so, and it's you want to be seen as somebody that gets stuff done and that is responsible and that yeah, but I cannot be the only one. I cannot, and then I can certainly not be mad that like that the other people around you are like just kind of chilling. Well, because you do it all. And I learned that early on in my career in TV as well, because I recognized, the role I was in. It was like, what ideas do you have? What story? And I'm like, oh, well, I would tell a reporter, you could call this person, call this person. Hey, I got a contact here, set that interview up and you'll be set. But they never would learn that on their own. They never made the contact themselves. They never met the person that could give a better interview or a better sound than the person that I gave. So I had to step back and go, okay, me giving my best doesn't mean I have to do it all.
Ooh.
Doing it all is not the answer.
Oh, that's a t-shirt.
It's just, and boy, when I tell you I did that and I was like, I feel good about leaving work on time. Before I would be like, well, no, there's something, I could do that and I could stay and I could, yeah, I could, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be some news tomorrow.
And it won't necessarily all be on your shoulders. So
No.
I love it. Oh, girl, I could talk to you for a long while, but I want you to be able to enjoy the rest of your day. So we're gonna bring this in and land the plane for you. So I want you to tell us what's next for you, what's next for Baubles and Beeswax. Let everybody know how they can find you.
Yeah, so at baubles.beeswax on TikTok. I'm learning the TikToks. On TikTok and Instagram, on Facebook as well. You can find us on baublesandbeeswax.com. And I will make a discount code for all of your listeners so you can get, yes, girl, get products. And I'll give a discount code. So I'll make sure that you have that. We are continuing to just kind of build this community of people that are struggling with self-care, but also that want to celebrate when they do get it right. Again, and I didn't mention this before, but I do think as Black women, we have a tough time celebrating how great we are. And I want to get to a space and place where we can actually say, no, I actually did that. And that was me. And that was, instead of like kind of, yeah, I kind of, and so this is part of that journey. And so creating more workshops and more retreats, more experiences where people can really answer the question of who they are outside of their role. Who are you? What legacy do you want to leave outside of a task, outside of a job? And so creating more opportunities to do that. We do candle making workshops, just expanding in the right way, trying to do more TikTok and learn TikTok, which is hard. It's like a whole government job. But, trying to figure that out. But honestly, it's a journey, and join us because we don't always get everything right, but we have a good time while we're doing it.
Oh my God. Okay, I want everybody that just listened to Bernadette talk about TikTok, I want you to go find her on TikTok and show her some love because I don't want her to give up on that dream.
I keep thinking, have I gone viral yet? Like, am I doing, what buttons do I push? Like,
I don't know.
It's hard.
I'm going to cheer you on from a distance, but hey, I appreciate you spending time with us today. I definitely want everybody to go to the website. We're going to link all of your information in the show notes so that they can go to the website and order their own luxury self-care items and be their best selves for all the people in their lives. But Bernadette, my dear, you dropped some gems, and hopefully we can continue this conversation in the future for the listeners.